The NDC, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't have a comparable policy ideas like I just read through for you in the NPP's manifesto. They don't have a comparable policy proposal. In fact, experts have widely disputed the NDC's proposal because it appears misplaced. It appears to be irrelevant and doesn't focus or appear to solve the problems before us. And so, in a few minutes, I'll just take you through that to see. Here is the NDC's proposal on the economy. The NDC says it will anchor its fiscal policy on a 24-hour economy strategy to enhance productivity, maximize production, create sustainable jobs, transform Ghana's economy into an import substitution and export-led economy. The truth of this is that it's not new. The only thing new here is 24-hour economy. The NDC has talked about everything else. If you go through the manifesto, they'll broaden the tax base, they'll do whatever. They've said this all before. And every time they are in government, we see the economy regressing. The economy doesn't perform under the NDC quite simply because you don't have the balance of ideas to be able to make it grow. But here's what they're saying. That they said they would anchor their fiscal policy on a 24-hour economy. And that, for me, is a problem to begin. It has been how many years now? The NDC has not been able to tell us in plain language what they mean by 24-hour economy. They have not been able to. They haven't. They'll tell you all manner of things, including importing all sorts of things, and building airports. And the truth is that to build whatever, assuming the incoherent explanation so far is taken for granted as their answer, to build the things they say they are building requires a performing economy. So what about you tell us about how you improve the economy, then we can get to talking about giving us a 24-hour economy. I'll show you how perverse this whole idea is and how fraudulent it is. And that the NDC just hopes that we just carry on with 24-hour economy. It sounds good, it sounds appealing, and people cannot imagine it. They think it's something great. And so when we go to the polls, somehow they will get votes from that. But I think that it will be to our collective loss if we make a mistake in voting for a party without knowing what they stand for, without knowing their promise to transform the economy, without knowing what they intend to do for the economy. And that's why this conversation is important for you to carry on and ensure that your viewers understand or demand from the NDC in plain language what is your 24-hour economy. Quite simple. If you say that, then we can come back on how anchoring your fiscal policy on that will help or not help. That's very fundamental. Ladies and gentlemen, this proposal, as I just finished talking about, is vain and designed to mislead Ghanaians. That is why all objective assessors have questioned the relevance and practicality of this NDC proposal. And thus far, the NDC, as I just told you, has not been able to offer any convincing explanation for the so-called 24-hour economy. What the NDC is doing, ladies and gentlemen, with the silence and the obfuscation from answering or the avoidance of questioning on the 24-hour economy is akin to naming a female child Kwame and deflecting or avoiding to answer whether that is the appropriate name for a girl child born on Saturday. They say it's Kwame, and you can't have them. You can't get them to say, no, it's right or wrong. They just say it's Kwame. And if you like Kwame, you just take it that Kwame is the name. But you and I know that a girl born on Saturday is not Kwame. And what we must do is to get the NDC to tell us exactly what they mean by 24-hour economy or what they mean by Kwame. They tell us if they've changed the naming system in Ghana that the female child is Kwame and the male child is Ama. They must tell us. But the point we are now is that they are avoiding any questions, but they are putting forward something that is wrong, something we know is not right, and calling it the name that we know is not right, and they are just pretending that it is okay. And just simply because it sounds good, if you are not careful, you go and vote thinking that 24-hour economy means anything. If you're a young person, you think that that brings you any opportunity. It doesn't. It has nothing absolutely to offer. And as you will see here, the 24-hour economy is an incidental policy. It's not a primary policy. It's not a policy you implement to result in something. You implement a certain economic policy that results in the ability to leverage a 24-hour economy. That is the fraud in the 24-hour economy that we must inform our readers. The truth is, as I just finished talking about, is that the 24-hour economy piggybacks on a high-performing economy. It piggybacks on the economy, if you like, the daytime economy. Without a performing economy, you can't do 24-hour economy. Imagine the NDC convincing me in my village in Aplau that you will be able to do 24-hour economy. By 8, by 9, the people are retired to bed. I mean, imagine your own village, even in Accra. Imagine what area in Accra that the NDC said will stimulate 24-hour economy. With what? And I'll show you a similar conversation that is going on in London right now in their discussions to see if they can implement 24-hour economy. So it's a complete fraud that the NDC is perpetrating in this election to deceive unsuspecting voters that they have something extraordinary to offer, but they don't. And I made a point to someone last time that, look, never mind that you have some challenges or have concerns with the economy. What you don't want to do is to cast a vote that will worsen the situation. Because if the NDC doesn't have a solution, and what they are promoting as a solution is not a solution, if you buy that, you'll probably end up worsening your situation. As though you are sick, if you go about taking everybody's prescription without them knowing or telling you that that prescription is specific to your disease or ailment, you will end up probably taking poison. And that's what the NDC is offering and setting us all up for by refusing to give us a clear-cut explanation of what their 24-hour economy is and how they are going to implement it. The 24-hour economy, as I told you, piggybacks on a high-performing economy. And one other feature of it is that it is city-based. It is city-based to take advantage of existing demand and productive capacities to meet that demand. Therefore, pursuing a 24-hour economy requires a performing daytime economy whose demands necessitate extra production time to satisfy that demand. Across the world, when you hear 24-hour economy, it is often being pursued by cities. We know about the Sydney 24-hour economy experimentation. Currently, as I told you, the City of London is discussing actively how to implement 24-hour economy. You cannot lift that close or limited policy and say that is your national policy. It's fraud. And even that, the conditions necessary for implementing such a policy is not here. The condition necessary for implementing any 24-hour economy is a functioning or performing economy. So therefore, even if you are dreaming of a 24-hour economy, you must first of all tell us the way to that is your daytime economic policy. How you are going to manage the economy to create the extra demand that will drive that we need to produce more, and so therefore let's work 12 hours more, let's work 24 hours, and work 18 hours. It is not just a question of I want to do. No, it's not wishful thinking. It's not wishful thinking. And so therefore, the NDC is fraudulently putting the 24 hours economy in the domain to leave it as a conversation that will be tumbling up and down, and they hope to benefit from it. Cities primarily implement 24-hour policy to capitalize on existing nightlife tendencies. And most of you would bear witness if you go to the Oxford Street in Osu in the evening time, you see that there's a drag in terms of business over there because the facility exists, the tendency exists. So if any of us here have any business idea to implement and you feel that there's potential on the Oxford Street to implement or potential in any part in Ghana to do nighttime business, where would you go? You go to the Oxford Street because the conditions for that already exist. And if you have a product, you go there and market that because there will be people there at that time. But you won't come here in front of NPP headquarters at 11 p.m. or midnight to want to sell anything here, because there's nobody. The condition for that must exist. And as I was talking in the case of Sydney, and when they are making the argument for their 24-hour economy, they tell you that they are a global city that has a 24-hour activity. And so therefore, they want to drive economic activity around that. The question is, what is that capacity in Ghana now? We first have to build the daytime economy. And that's why we want the NDC to show us what their daytime economy is. No nation, ladies and gentlemen, in the world anchors its fiscal policy on its nighttime economy, because 24-hour economy results from the daytime economy. The NDC, it's a challenge for them, the NDC must show us one country that predicates its fiscal policy on a nighttime economy. Before they come to answer that, I'll give the answer, and they can prove me wrong, but there is none. There's none. Already I told you that this 24-hour policy is exploited mostly on city basis, and I'll show you the evidence of the evolving conversation in London about that. The daytime economy is essential for a 24-hour economy, so therefore it's absurd, deceitful, and incompetent of the NDC to propose a fiscal policy anchored on a nighttime economy without explaining to us how they will boost the daytime economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the nighttime economy, as I indicated to you, is incidental, it's not primary, it's secondary. Now let me talk to you about the conversation going on in London. They are currently debating the implementation of the 24-hour economy. And I'll give you the site if you want to go and follow. This will be the official City of London Assembly page. You go there, you see all the conversation with the questions that are being asked by the Assembly members to the mayor to prove to them, to satisfy them that his so-called 24-hour policy is relevant, is possible, is practical, and is workable. And we have to ask the NDC the same question. Ask them, apart from anything else, ask them, why are you implementing a city-based policy for a country whose village I come from would go to bed at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening? What infrastructure exists for that idea? How are you going to do it? It's not simply that, so we'll make, I mean, this is very shallow when they talk about it, so that we'll make the ministry work double shift. Really, how? I mean, like, how are they going to do that? It's not right. It's such a deception that amounts to insult. How do you do that? Look, like simply, any of us here, most of you in your TV stations, at a certain point, you put in an auto and go home, right? But tell me, the orange cell, I mean, how do you stimulate that into being? Like, oh, when we come 7 January 2025, then 24-hour economy, like a switch on the wall, crap, then it's on. I mean, this is not right. It's wrong. We know we have difficulties, but what we want is not lies. What we want is a practical solution, something that we can weigh, something that you and I, we can chew on and say, granted that we will do this, it makes sense. Granted that this will be done, it will create this. You can process it. That's what we as voters must do in assessing who we vote for on December 7th. We must have the facts. And if nothing at all, as I told you earlier, the economy is everything to vote for. So if nothing at all, let's know what the NDC is going to do with the economy, and that will be it. Because if you find out what they are going to do and we choose right, who is going to help the economy, everything else they promise will fall in place because they need money to do anything else they have promised. So the center of everything is the economy. And the NDC has not provided any solution whatsoever. Okay, so there's an assembly member called, forgive me if I don't say his name well, his name is Alessandro Giorgio. On July 5th, posed a question to the mayor. And he asked the mayor, how will you improve the wider infrastructure to support a 24-hour economy? This is a conversation leading to the implementation of 24-hour economy. The NDC said we'll do 24-hour economy, haven't answered any question, things that we just dangle it around and then people will vote for. The question is, what is the infrastructure presence in Ghana? What is the situation on the ground enabling that what we need is doing 24-hour economy? What is there? Do we have the infrastructure? And that question is loaded, and I'll try and break it down for you, but I know you yourselves can process that question. What does it mean, infrastructure? It means economy, it means investing, it means a lot of things. So if London, okay, is investing or implementing 24-hour economy, and these are the questions, the critical questions, then imagine what questions we have to ask the NDC before they even leave the room when they mention the idea of 24-hour economy. And the question proposes that, as I was just saying, the question proposes that there must be a certain condition present before one can implement a 24-hour economy. In other words, one cannot just promise to implement a 24-hour economy without addressing the infrastructure or the demand question raised by Alejandro, Assembly Member in London. As you are aware, infrastructure is a function of the economy. And I just told you, government is looking, when His Excellency Dr. Mahama becomes president, to seed about 3% of the national economy to direct it to the private sector to contribute to infrastructure development. It is the economy, essentially, infrastructure is. So therefore, the Alessandro's question to the mayor is to find out the mayor's plan to improve infrastructure. Where is he going to get the money to build the infrastructure necessary for taking off the 24-hour economy? So the question that we have to ask is how the NDC will fund or create a condition conducive for the implementation of that policy, which I contend is making sure that the economy generally is performing well. The mayor's response, I'll read to you, and I'll try and read his response to this question entirely for you to see. So here's the mayor's response to the question, how will you improve infrastructure to support the 24-hour economy? The mayor, all parts of London's 520 billion economy are active around the clock and important to our success as a dynamic global city. For example, London has over 5 times as many 24-hour licensed premises as any other city in the UK and an extensive 24/7 public transport. Okay, please take note of this. Moreover, what needs to be done to improve planning and infrastructure for the 24-hour economy? Work needs to be done. We don't know that work. The NDC has not told us that work. They have not told us there's anything to do. They just think that just throw it out there is fine, right? But he's saying that more work needs to be done to improve planning and infrastructure for the 24-hour economy. You need money to do that. That is why my London plan contains protection for existing nighttime venues and calls on all boroughs to create evidence-led nighttime strategies, taking a holistic approach to planning for evening and night time. A third of London's boroughs are now working on their nighttime strategy. Not all of them, just a third. Not all of them. With Wandsworth and Camden having already published theirs. Okay, so all of London, only 2 cities, only 2 towns or 2 boroughs, yeah, are finished. And London's economy is what? 520 billion pounds sterling. Okay? Ghana's economy, I just told you, we have lifted it from 2016 to about 56 billion when we inherited to 76 billion. Okay? Divide that by London's economy. Okay? And you get a ratio for its infrastructure development and everything else. And now they are discussing implementing 24-hour economy. But even that, they are debating whether the conditions are right for that policy. So if anybody tells you in Ghana that is implementing a city-based policy as a national policy, okay, an anomaly, right? You want to ask, where is the condition for it? You can't trick us. It's not like a switch. You can't. We need to understand. It's just not there. And he's saying that already London has a 24-hour transport system. Do we have that here in Ghana? Do we have our public transport system?
Do
we have that? What our focus is, ladies and gentlemen, is to build and stabilize our economy. That's the preoccupation. That's where we are. You have to jump, you have to count one before you count two. London, after many, many, many years, with its economy 520 billion pounds sterling, is now debating 24-hour economy. So if anybody comes and tells us that they are going to do 24-hour economy in Ghana, you know clearly and simply that they are deceptive, they are lying to us, and that is why they don't want to explain it. That's why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is avoiding the debate. Because, like you in this room, the first question on my mind to ask him is, what in the name of God is this 24-hour economy? And he doesn't have an answer for it. The mayor's response demonstrates that 24-hour economy builds on existing capacities or the performance of the daytime economy. In other words, it is misleading and perhaps incompetent for the NDC to tie its fiscal policy to a 24-hour economy when the pressing question is how we boost the daytime economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the above shows the NDC's promotion of 24-hour economy is a hoax. The 24-hour policy is mainly city-based, as I've told you, and is designed to take advantage of a city's nightlife opportunities and a factor of demand that lends itself to a performing economy. The NDC must not be allowed to get away with this policy hoax they are perpetrating on Ghanaians, especially when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama recently says that this election is about the economy. What else he said in addition, I won't say. But he says the election is about the economy. So we want to know what he means by this 24-hour economy. He must tell us in plain language. In plain language. Ladies and gentlemen, let the NDC, ladies and gentlemen, let's all demand for this call for debate on the economy. It is important. It is important that we understand what the proposals of the two leading political parties are. I've just told you the MPP's view, the NDC's view. You don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's a hoax. We have come to conclude. But we need a debate. If they doubt that our conclusion that their policy is a hoax, we need a debate for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to be on a platform to explain to Ghanaians what his idea of 24-hour economy is and how he will implement it. So we can ask him some of these questions that is going on currently in London's Assembly. I have shown you that the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's bold solution for jobs and businesses is capable of transforming Ghana's economy and sustaining the current growth trajectory, and is what we must vote for. And I've also highlighted for you the NDC's deception in projecting a 24-hour economy slogan to mislead Ghanaians. And if now, ladies and gentlemen, London is debating the implementation of 24-hour economy, then it means that the NDC has completely lost the plot on how to grow Ghana's economy. The truth is, I saw on TV3 they brought somebody who's collecting data from a GRA and comparing things. What we are talking about is that the economy you are in today, the prospect for people is not the same as they offered. So the MDC and the propaganda they are doing won't stand. But the point is that the proper accounting of these jobs are there to be verified, and there's no contradicting that fact. On the cedi depreciation, I can tell you that it's a challenge that the government acknowledges. It's not one that we can wish away or was brought about by reason of mismanagement at all. There is a global situation that has led to inflation across the world. And because the United States itself and the advanced economies were suffering the same inflation, they resort to monetary policy measures to restrict the supply of money. And when that happens, the cost of the dollar goes up. I mean, that applies to all major currencies, but we're talking about the dollar. So the cost of dollar goes up. And any time the cost of dollar goes up, investors seek opportunity in the Americas because it's a safer place to be, right? And the idea of increasing the interest rate is to mop up money from the system. So investors respond to that natural incentive that is given by the increase in the interest rate. So it makes the dollar scarce, and so those of us who need the dollar to help us transact our business would naturally find it high. This is not a function of this government's performance or the lack thereof. So it's a global situation, but the truth is, and the good news in that is that given the difficulty that environment created, you had a government that reasoned through the problem and came up with a response that is yielding dividend. That you see that through the Gold for Oil initiative and backing our currency, the gold purchase program by the Bank of Ghana has helped solidify our cedi largely. And in 2022, thereabout, we gained almost about 2.79 billion in settling our foreign obligations through that gold purchase program. So it is for us as a country to think very deeply and to focus on solutions that will make us independent and strengthen our currency. And I submit to you that His Excellency Dr. Mahama Baumeh's policy to back our cedi with gold is the game changer that we must pursue, which is the reason why we must vote for him. I entreat you, ask the NDC the same question. Okay? It's not as simple as saying that, oh, when we were there, it was 4 cedi, 50%. So the question is, what will you do if you inherit this economy today, okay, to strengthen the cedi? Never mind that you didn't tell us how you were messing it up, but tell us how you're going to fix it. And that's what they can't tell us. They are obfuscating, they are hiding behind, we won't come to debate to say that they won't tell us what their economic plan is. But we have told you, and we have promised you that the cedi will be relatively stable long-term if we implement this gold-backed currency initiative. Thank you very much.